Earlier today, I went over to Athens to run a few errands and got a little bit of barbecue too. These are a few scenes along the drive up there, and you can see pretty fair skies, typical of mid to late summer. Debris anvils from yesterday, and just fair weather cue.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and get a pound of that. Yeah, a pound of that is good.
Hey, it's Tim Vasquez with you here with the Texas weather forecast. Let's start out by looking at yesterday. This is Monday at about 10 in the morning, and you can see pretty clear conditions across most of Texas. You remember that easterly wave that we talked about yesterday? Well, we started out the day with a lot of cloud activity, a lot of cloud cover off the Louisiana coast down in this area. You can see that's pretty much gone. Not a whole lot going on in Louisiana around Shreveport or Longview. So we're starting out with a pretty benign picture here. So what happened as the day went on? Well, we're getting to noon and then 1 p.m. and 2 p.m. We do get a lot of that low cloud cumulus fields and even some enhanced cumulus along the Sabine River, but not quite what we had yesterday. In fact, we can just roll this on through 4 p.m., 5 p.m. This is when we would expect thunderstorms to be developing in Louisiana, but as we can see, the easterly wave has pushed on off to the west. And yesterday I had thought that there might be more thunderstorm activity over the mountains. That does seem to be the case. The only thing is the easterly wave moved probably a little faster than I would normally think it would. They only move around 5 or 10 knots, and that's pretty quick moving to get it all the way out here, but that's what the models had, so I'll just go with that for now. But here's the sea breeze. See that right there? Getting a few towers going up along the area from north of Houston Intercontinental Airport to north of Lake Charles. And a few towers try to go up around south of Longview out towards south of Shreveport, but not much. As we get into 5 and 6 p.m., 7 p.m., you can see they really don't develop, so pretty much shuts down there. The stuff over the higher terrain of Texas, though, pretty vigorous right there. We have some from Tucumcari down to about, I guess, around Alamogordo. Yeah, there we go. And a lot of activity in El Paso. And this is pretty much what we would expect going into August. A lot of the activity tends to shift westward towards the Rocky Mountain region because the North American monsoon is getting going in full force, and that's bringing a lot of orographic development to the areas west of Texas into New Mexico and Arizona and even up to Utah. Well, anyway, what's for us? Well, we're 2 minutes into this, so let me move it along here. Here we got the surface map showing the big picture. And in the very lower right, I've plotted the high temperatures for the day. So where do we have 100-degree readings? Well, let me circle those real quick. We've got some going to DFW, just kind of a thin band along Interstate 20 right there. And then we have a few more along around Childress, and of course, southwestern Oklahoma, always up over 100. And plenty of those hundreds out in the West Texas area, 107 there. I guess that's around Monahans. So with the upslope flow and the higher terrain, the 105-degree temperatures do produce a few thunderstorms out in this area, but not enough to get things going out here. And why is that? Well, we can take a look at the sounding. This is Lake Charles. And this is 0Z, that's at 7 p.m., so this is in the early evening. What this is showing us is that if we lift a parcel from that high temperature there, mix the lowest 150 millibars or so, we get a parcel that goes up kind of like that. I know this is probably a little complicated. You can read some of the books I got that explains this. But the important thing here is our lifted parcel on this sounding, as we go up past 18,000 feet, 25,000 feet, it stays kind of along or to the left of this red environmental line. What that means is the rising thunderstorm parcel, if it existed, would be the same temperature or cooler as the air around it. And that always means that it's not going to be rising very vigorously at all. In fact, it's not going to be rising at all. So this is shutting down the activity. What we had yesterday, if we looked at that red line here, that would probably have been a little bit more like this. So if we lifted a parcel with that, it would have fallen a little bit to the right of that line, indicating that the parcel is a little bit warmer. So anyway, I'm just going through this very quickly. That brings us to the forecast models, and let me run this back here. So here we go, upper level high across the southern Mississippi River Valley. There's that cyclonic or anticyclonic flow in that area, and that's giving us a little bit of a southerly flow from the Gulf. Not enough to really get anything going, but it is a little bit of a change from what we've had over the past week. Then we start running the model forward. So the high kind of retrogresses a little bit, goes back into northeast Texas. So we're going to stay in the same kind of pattern for a while. And remember, we want to kind of look at easterly waves embedded in this flow, like we had yesterday. And we're not seeing any of that for tomorrow. So going into midweek, same pattern, no change. And then towards the weekend, as we had expected, a little bit of northerly flow develops, and you can see that it's backed off a little bit from the scenario we had yesterday. It was expecting a little bit of jet energy to go into western Oklahoma and the Texas Panhandle, and it's backed off from that. So it looks like it's going to be a little bit drier than what we had originally expected. So do we have any relief going into next week? Well, not really. Well, there's a little bit that comes into play around Tuesday. See that little bit of jet energy coming into North Texas. The very fact that we've got a little bit of northerly flow next week, and that would tell me that we've got at least a slight chance of thunderstorms, mostly in the evening hours in this part of Texas and Oklahoma. But the further south you go, the more iffy it gets pretty quickly. And for South Texas, it should stay pretty dry. And as we go into the rest of next week, this is getting pretty far out, but it does bring a much stronger band in by, this is around Thursday. So we'll keep an eye on this. That would definitely open up the chance for a little bit of thunderstorm activity in the eastern half of Texas. And as far as short waves or easterly waves, let me take a quick look. Yep, there we go. Got a little ripple moving through here. This is kind of down along the Texas Gulf Coast, and we're talking about Friday going into Saturday. So there's that ripple, goes into the South Texas coast. That's not going to affect really anywhere except maybe Houston or San Antonio southward. So this is Friday. And then after that, I don't really see a whole lot else going on. So that is our detailed forecast, and hope you enjoyed it. This is the Texas Weather Forecast. Tim Vasquez here, and thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.